A pleasure to meet you all at last, and I'm going to apologize for a few things real quick because you might hear some things in the background. Well, it's actually laundry equipment that I'm currently running right now, and I'm actually kind of ill. Mostly in regards to, throat drainage, so I do apologize if my voice doesn't sound normal in a way. But I will go ahead and explain a few things because I really haven't done a lot in the last week or so. It's certainly because of a lot of things in regards to, other parts of my life. If you don't recount any of the times where I have talked about my job in the MTC, Marcus Theaters Corporation, then it probably should have been clear by now that, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker has come into theaters, and I did spend so much time trying to put together all of that stuff. But what I will announce real quick on the flip side is that, as it turns out, Hobby with Hilarity Season 3 is finally finished for good. All 9 of those extra episodes have been uploaded, and not to mention, I've already started my work on layout shoutouts, but I will also get to Colossal Clashes, pretty much. I might consider uploading 3 layout shoutouts episodes, but by the end of the year, and by the end of the month, pretty much. And as for Colossal Clashes, it would take some more time to get work on, but I will eventually get to those. I will also announce real quick that, the gaming with Kaiju Force Neo has actually been going so well. I actually did just finish up the last game, which is actually going to be Call of Duty Ghosts, so that's pretty much going to be the last game that I've got for Season 4 of Gaming with Kaiju Force Neo, but of course, if you don't really recall anything I've talked about, then you probably should notice that I will actually be revisiting Ark Survival Evolved and Red Dead Redemption 2, because even though I finished up with the amount of episodes I wanted to get for Call of Duty Ghosts, it still wasn't enough. 379 episodes apparently wasn't going to be enough even with Ghosts being put up. So that is why, to fill in for the quantity that I have set in play for 379 episodes for the season, I'll be revisiting Red Dead Redemption 2 and Ark as time goes on, pretty much. Those are probably going to be the 2 biggest games that I've got in my entire repertoire. So I once again do apologize for that part, but I feel like I should touch up on some really serious stuff regarding my Twitter, because as it turns out, you probably haven't checked out my Mastodon recently, but there actually was a screenshot that I took of an email that Twitter decided to put up in response to those multiple appeals that I put up to them weeks ago. And I don't really know why it took them weeks to respond to me. Maybe it's because with all the more constant abuse that's actually going on, and Twitter started to get through to their head that people out there are actually abusing the system really badly. And with people like myself who are not a threat, they should have, paid some more attention. But at least they are getting rid of the stupid thoughts in their mind that they think that I'm a threat when I'm really not. I only had 2 accounts because Kaiju Force Neo 1.0 was going to be kaput. But it turns out that in order to get KFN 2.0 back to normal, to get my account unsuspended that is, I had to sacrifice KFN 1.0 a year early. Somehow Twitter decided to simply unsuspend, to make this an option for me to do. Because unless if I removed one of my accounts, then I still would have been in violation of their terms and services regarding multiple accounts. Because apparently other people out there can have multiple accounts and they apparently don't abuse the system at all. And I end up doing the same thing, and yet I get suspended in a permanent fashion. That's pretty much what they were going for. If you don't recall, the last time that a message came to me from Twitter saying that they will not unsuspend any of my accounts whatsoever. Looking back at that email, which has actually been deleted now because I really do not want to ever have to hear anything from them again. I basically just made it clear that I did not want them in my life ever again. But now that this happened, they basically gave me the option to deactivate KFN 1.0 as a way to get KFN 2.0 back. And I was forced to simply do it. Either it was that, or I wouldn't get any of my accounts ever again. They didn't even tell me anything about it. Well, I guess that's just the bad thing about this whole thing, is that you can never always trust the admins of any service whatsoever. You can never always trust what they're going to tell you, what they're not going to tell you, or if they're just going to let you find out for yourself. People who don't tell others the serious nature of this stuff, it's a serious recurring issue that needs to be addressed at all times. But you know what? I actually was able to get KFN 2.0 back in one piece. The email also said that it would take 24 to 48 hours for my follower count, my following count, as well as some of my other things to return to normal. But let's also not forget, despite my sacrifice of KFN 1.0 as a way of reducing the so-called violation I was putting up of the terms and services regarding multiple accounts for abusive purposes, which I wasn't putting up to begin with, I'm still very skeptical about what Twitter could do to me in the future. And I'm legit just going to start shedding tears, because just thinking about it alone just makes me want to cry. All this time that Twitter had decided to just simply attack my accounts for no apparent reason, and now they're letting it go. It just doesn't make any sense. They made it clear that they were not going to unsuspend any of my accounts whatsoever because of a violation that I committed, and yet they simply allowed me to deactivate an account of mine just so I'd be able to get the other one back. The world we live in. Either it's certain rules that, or even stupid rules that I'd have to follow, otherwise I get nothing. It's a privilege of a lifetime. This is a historical moment that I hopefully never forget in my life. Even when oh my gosh. It's getting so bad that I'm actually starting to stutter. I'm not joking around. Even when I'm on my deathbed, I hope to never forget about a moment like this. I mean, sure. I'm actually happy to get my Twitter account back for once, because never would I have thought that they would have put up such a horrendous attempt to get both of my accounts suspended for good, to the point at which I would no longer be able to fight for them. But now, they're surrendering themselves. It's like they're simply letting go of the system that they once served, and now they're simply going for something new. I legit am almost speechless at this point, because this is just ridiculous. They make it clear they're not going to suspend accounts. They follow certain rules, even if they're dumb rules, that no one would ever want to follow in their lifetime. And even if I am following those rules, I still get myself in trouble. I don't even know where to begin at this point. I guess I could begin with, uploading to my Twitter anything that I had from my first Twitter, but I actually did take care of a lot of stuff before having my first Twitter account deactivated, but let's not forget, I will in fact host a little ceremony for it. KFN 1.0. Like a little funeral. Because it has a lot of history behind it, being that it was one of the first ever Twitter accounts to exist. And now that with 2.0, I do hope to have it last way longer. So, I guess I'll just see where it goes from here on out, but I am seriously hoping that Twitter gets their head in the game. No matter how thick their skull is, no matter how puny their musculature is, I really do not ever want to see or hear from any of them about violations or whatnot, unless if it's actually something I violated. I've done everything I could ever possibly do to avoid violations, And somehow, through some strange hole in the system, some type of loophole that they just want to make as some sort of unacceptable excuse to get me suspended. I mean, of course, my, popularity had skyrocketed since my affiliation with the GameTweet community even started less than 3 years ago. But at this point, I'm more than willing to confirm or deny the facts that all have been played in. Cards have been played, line in the sand has been drawn, and I'm more than sincerely hoping that nothing happens to my Twitter account ever again. So, hopefully that's just the end of it. But there's a lot more that I'm going to have to do anyway. Regarding my Twitter, regarding my Mastodon, regarding my Tango, which I should probably start live streaming a bit more often on Tango, but I'd say that if you want to see more, go down to my channel alongside everything else that I've got in play. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.